Good morning. It's 9:30. Before we get started, I would like to ask our interpreter to walk through how to access our interpretation services for today's meeting. Please proceed.
Good morning. This is an announcement from the interpreter. To use the interpretation feature, please scroll down to the bottom of the Zoom screen where the meeting controls are. Click on the interpretation icon, the world, and select English as your language. If you are joining through the Zoom mobile app, cell phone, tablet, etc., please press the ellipsis, then interpretation, and then choose your language. Finally, click on mute original audio to not hear the original Spanish low in the background. Headsets are available for interpretation if you are in the meeting room. Please check out a headset from the receptionist in the lobby. Aviso por parte del intérprete. Para hacer uso del servicio de interpretación, favor desplazarse a la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom donde aparecen los controles. Haga clic en el icono de interpretación globo terráqueo y seleccione Spanish, español. Si está utilizando la aplicación móvil de Zoom, celular, tableta, etc., presione los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego el idioma. Si no desea escuchar el audio original en inglés en el fondo, por favor seleccione Mute Original Audio, silenciar audio original. Contamos con auriculares disponibles para el servicio de interpretación. Si se encuentra en la sala de reunión, por favor de pedir auriculares con la recepcionista en el vestíbulo. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a different format, but I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land that we all call home. The tribal nations of the San Diego region has historically faced injustices. We acknowledge the harmony that existed between the land, nature, and its original peoples who have since endured displacement, persecution, and systematic oppression. We pay our respect to the unceded territory and homelands of the 18 tribal nations in our region, the most in any county in the United States, from our cultural groups, the Kumeyaay de Guieneo, the Luiseño, the Copeño, and the Cahuilla. This land has nourished, healed, protected, and embraced them for many generations in a relationship of balance and harmony. As members of the SANDAG community, we acknowledge this legacy. We aspire to learn from Indigenous traditional knowledge and experiences in undoing the injustices of the past. And now please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and I will now ask our clerk to confirm that we have a quorum with a roll call for attendance. Clerk, please confirm.
Thank you, Chair. For Biology Environmental, Lorraine Alquist. Here. For CEO Private Sector, Sunny House. Here. Contractor Construction is currently vacant. For Finance and Budgeting, Chair Babaki.
Here.
For Licensed Civil Traffic Engineer, Vice Chair Rivera.
Here.
For Licensed Engineer, Les Hopper.
Here.
And Real Estate Right-of-Way Acquisition is absent. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk. So welcome to the September 11th Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee ITAC meeting. I want to thank the staff for their efforts to pull this meeting together and especially working with me as a brand new chair to navigate this for my first meeting. And thank you to everyone on the phone and web for taking the time to join us today. Let's talk quickly about how this meeting will work. We'll take in-person public comments followed by virtual public comments. If you're a member of the public here in the room, please submit a speaker slip to the clerk. For those virtual, please continue to raise your virtual hands at the right time. I want to make sure everyone knows that public participation is possible in person and via Zoom as well. We've got live mics in the middle of the room, so please speak up and keep side conversations to a minimum. I will now ask SANDAG financial analyst Vanessa Leon to provide a quick reminder on how the public and member comments will vote. Please, Vanessa.
Thank you, Chair Babaki. We will take both in-person and virtual public comments. As noted on the cover page of today's meeting agenda, in addition to emailing comments, the public may also provide live comments during today's meeting. In order to provide live comments, you can join today's Zoom meeting through the link or by dialing one of the numbers from your phone that are provided on the cover page of today's meeting agenda. Join the meeting by clicking on the Join Webinar link provided in the confirmation email you'll receive upon registering. When public comments are called for an item, on the Zoom platform, click on the raise hand icon in the Zoom toolbar. The chair will call on you by the name you provide. If you're participating by phone, press *9. The chair will call on you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. The instructions for providing live comments are also on the bottom of the cover page of today's meeting agenda, which can be accessed from the homepage of SANDAG's website at www.sandag.org. All comments, whether emailed or live, will be made a part of today's meeting record. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. So with that, let's get started. Are there any public comments on this item? Please raise your hands at this time.
Thank you, Chair. I see no hands from the public.
Okay. Are there any member comments? Okay. Then at this time, I would like to ask SANDAG's Chief Executive Officer, Mario, if there are any agency updates.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of updates on several of our programs. Since we last met, we opened up the Pershing Bikeway. This was a great achievement, total cost about $27.5 million. And it gives the region an additional 2.2 miles of bike and pedestrian pathways passing through Balboa Park. The inland rail trail construction started in June. We expect to be completed in 2026. This project is about $26 million. ATC, this is transit to the airport. There's been a lot of reports of saying that are we working on it or not. We're really committed to the project. Planning is doing the planning studies, and we're getting ready to kick up some surveys that will help us find the destinations and origins and come out with some good proposals in the near future. On the new border crossing, I just wanted to mention also since our last meeting that, well, the board approved a binational agreement with Mexico. We're working on the date to sign that agreement. The board of directors also directed staff to develop a temporary working group to address environmental concerns affecting the border region. And we also executed a new memorandum of understanding with U.S. Customs that it's allowing us to move forward with 100% of design of the port of entry. So that really also allows us to bring in the CMGC contractor on board. Under loss and realignment, actually, I'm just coming from the kickoff of the value analysis. So the value analysis started this morning. It's happening in the Del Mar Fairgrounds with all the cities and regional stakeholders for that area. We're really committed to come out with a good result and come out with some alternatives that will be incorporated in a new notice of preparation for that realignment project. The Patiquitos Lagoon double track project, that one is also replenishing. Let me see where we are with that one. We plan to begin that sand replenishment on that project. And it also includes the dredging of the lagoon. Once the project is completed in 2028, we will have about 70,000 cubic yards of sand that have been deposited. Regarding some of our purple lines, there's a Rapid 688 survey. We had public workshops a few weeks ago on the purple line. Important to recognize the project will take decades to be built. It's not such a huge project cannot be built in just a matter of a year or two, right? The purple line. But in the meantime, we do need to figure out how to provide services to those areas. So we are looking into the different rapid alternatives. So we are inviting the public for a public survey, asking to go to our webpage by October 8th to let us know about the important destinations they need to travel in that route. On the RTIP public hearing on September 20th, the Transportation Committee, there will be a public hearing on the draft Regional Transportation Improvement Program and its air quality conformity analysis. The RTIP is our 5-year program of funded transportation projects, including TransNet, covering 2025 to 2029. On another note, we will be hosting the annual dinner for the Diamond Awards next week on September 17. This is an opportunity to acknowledge 137 local employers who have gone above and beyond to implement sustainable practices in their employment. And finally, October 2nd is Free Ride Day and California Clean Air Day. So we really encourage the people to pledge to commute for a clean air on Wednesday, October 2nd by walking, biking, carpooling, or riding transit for free. And this will be thanks to MTS and North County Transit, that transit will be free on October 2nd. That concludes my report, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair.
If I may, I have one announcement, if
Yes.
that's okay. For those of you who have been on iTalk for a couple of years, you've been working with Zara Zadegian. She has actually moved on to contracts now. So she is doing what she loves in contracts. So she's no longer here assisting with the iTalk. So we have Adrian and Vanessa. So I just wanted to make that announcement.
Any others? No? Okay. Well, thank you.
I have some
Yes.
questions. Thank you, Mario, for being here and providing these updates. I think these are really important for us to know the status of the agency, especially with all the transitions and everything else that's been going on. I notice it's not an agenda item anymore. So is there a reason why agency update has dropped off the agenda?
Not sure, but I just provided it.
I understand. I'm just saying it would be nice to have that
Absolutely.
on the agenda
Yeah.
so we know what really, I mean, I've noticed it's not you, but the last couple of times I have not seen the actual item on the agenda. I think it's important for it to be agendized so that we do hear from either Mario or someone representing him. So.
I think that this has been consolidated on all of the agendas. It's not just for iTalk. It's they've consolidated the CEO update into the non-agenda public comments, member comments portion of each of the agendas.
Okay, but we will continue to get
That is
update.
part of that
Okay.
item, yes.
For sure.
Okay, well, since you're here, Mario, and great news about everything that you reported on. What about the agency itself? I know you have a big task ahead of you. Can you update us a little bit on how things are going?
We will be giving an agency update to the board of directors at the end of September.
Okay.
At the second meeting. What I can tell you is we've really dived in. We have really focused on some of the audit results, which were project management and contract improvements. We are revamping our delivery group, or that used to be engineering and construction. We will be having 3 directors in that area. The new engineering and construction director. We have a new director for mega projects. Maria Rodriguez is the new director. Dave Cortez is the engineering and construction director. And starting September 16, Clint Pease will be the new director for program project management.
Okay.
So that's just a couple of the add-ons. Of course, we have Don as our new chief financial officer. So we are slowly moving forward. That update that will be given to the board of directors will be a little bit more comprehensive. And then we will follow subsequent to that presentation. In following meetings, we will be giving project specifics, and you will also see in other PAC meetings and even in iTalk, you're going to start seeing corridor updates There will be an update on State Route 67 shortly to TC. There will be an update on State Route 78 also. I think it's to TC and to the board. So the goal is also to revitalize also the policy advisory committees. So more robust conversations can happen that and can be floated to the board of directors, similar to what happens here. That's a little bit tidbit of where we are.
Thank you for the advanced information. Okay.
With that, we will move on to consent agenda. We have items number 2 and number 3 that require action. And are there any public comments on the consent agenda? Please raise your hand at this time.
Thank you, Chair. I see no hands from the public online either.
Okay. Are there any member comments?
Well, I do have questions on item number 3. So maybe we can pull that out of the consent agenda before we approve everything else. I don't know if anyone else has any other comments.
Okay, yeah, number 3. Good.
That's the grant amendment.
I concur with Sunny on item 3 to pull it.
Yes, number 2 and 3 will be
Just number 3.
discussed.
Yeah,
Okay,
that should be a separate item, yeah.
okay. Then if no further comments, can I have a motion to approve item number 2?
2 or the whole consent? Well, basically, yeah, 2, I guess.
I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes for July 10th, 2024. Rivera.
I second that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. Rivera and Lorraine, and any questions? Okay. Madam Clerk, can you please call roll call vote and to stay where the motion passes?
Thank you, Chair. For Biology Environmental, Lorraine Alquist.
Approve.
For CEO Private Sector, Sunny House.
Approved.
For Contractor Construction is absent. For Finance and Budgeting, Chair Babaki.
Approve.
For Licensed Traffic and Civil Traffic Engineer, Vice Chair Rivera.
Approved.
For Licensed Engineer, Les Hopper.
Approved.
And Real Estate Right-of-Way Acquisition is absent. With that, that motion does pass with those members who are present.
Okay. Now, can I have a motion to recommend item number 3? And I recognize that you would like to discuss that. So,
Well, can we discuss it before we?
yes. Well, I guess we have a motion to approve and then we can have a motion and then discussion,
I think we approved the
We
consent
approved.
calendar except.
except number 3. Okay.
You can do one of two things. You can ask for the motion to recommend, get a first and a second for discussion, or we can discuss, she can ask her questions and then you can call the motion.
Okay, well, why don't we discuss it?
Okay. So let's see, item, Lemon Grove, there's Lemon Grove, there's El Cajon, and City of San Diego, and then the San Diego River Valley Regional. My question is on the San Diego River Valley Regional, the open space park, and I don't know if anyone is here. Okay. What I wanted to find out, maybe you can explain that a little bit and then I can ask the question.
Yes, so this is an amendment for the scope of work. Simply is that it's to add additional site for the project site. Currently, as in the request, there's kind of some difficulties as well as some logistical and biological reasons for the addition to the site. It's within the preserve, but it's not what was proposed in the competitive grant, as well as not in the original scope. So this is why it's coming to you all formally.
Okay. So the new site, do you need to do any additional environmental or any other procedural things that before you can have access or approval to get into that site? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, the grantee owns this additional site. It is already in their maintenance and management, so it would just be the additional, as well as been already cleared in that request report, a part of this item,
Okay.
that it would be maintained and would be able to be under the same budget. It just to add the cactuses, like just relocate them from
Right.
the original site.
And so the duration that they have asked, the extension they have asked for, is that reasonable? Is this going to be it? You know, what assurances do you have that this will be done within that timeline?
Yes, essentially, this is on time and on budget, as well as this would just help the seamless transition, as well as make it safer for the grantee's staff to produce, put the rest of the cactuses as it was proposed in the grant. We do not foresee an extension or a need to budget relocation. This is a multi-year grant, so couldn't say for sure if there's other things, but currently right now, that's the status.
Okay. Okay, and then I was a little bit confused in the report for Lemon Grove. I think it's Lemon Grove here. You're asking for an extension to March 20th, 25. Is that correct? Not 24, right? Is that?
2025 is correct.
Okay.
7 months from August.
Okay, all right. That's all I have. So Frank, you had some?
Yes, my comments were on the Lemon Grove one, the CPUC, that usually doesn't happen as quickly as you'd like it to occur. And so things tend to sort of cascade with that. But the CPUC is an important part of that project for the city of Lemon Grove. On the DIR for El Cajon, I understand the situation with that. I was involved in a similar case like that, and you just don't know what the timeline is going to be. And so hopefully with these time extensions that these have been thought of that are reasonable for us, that the two projects, or the three actually, that they will be completed within the schedule that we've seen in the report. That's all. Thank you.
With that, do I have a motion to approve item number 3?
I move to approve.
I'll second. Rivera.
Quick question, is it item number 3 or the entire consent calendar?
No.
Just item number 3.
Item number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And
don't think.
the action should be recommend.
Recommend.
Recommend. Okay, recommend. Thank you.
So do I have a motion to, we have a motion to recommend from Sunny House, and second by Frank Rivera.
Thank you. For
Roll call.
biology environmental, Lorraine Alquist.
Approve.
For CEO private sector, Sunny House.
Yes.
For contractor construction is absent. For finance budgeting, Chair Babaki.
Yes.
For licensed civil traffic engineer, Vice Chair Rivera.
Approved.
For licensed engineer, Les Hopper.
Approved.
And for real estate right-of-way acquisition is absent. That motion does pass unanimously with those members present.
Okay. With that, we are moving on to item number 11, appointment of one subcommittee member for TransNet ordinance amendment.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, iTalk members. Today I'm here to discuss the appointment of a new member to the subcommittee of the TransNet ordinance amendments regarding the iTalk's governance structure. This subcommittee has historically had 3 dedicated members, Jonathan Franco, Sunny House, and the position recently vacated by Pedro Orso Delgado. Our immediate goal is to find and appoint an iTalk member for this open spot. The subcommittee's agenda has focused on 2 pivotal items: the expansion of iTalk membership and the revision of the selection committee process. adjusting the selection committee process could enhance the flexibility in managing the appointment and reappointment of the ITALK members. In reference to item 6, we are currently in the process of scheduling the selection committee for the vacant position in alignment with the guidance specified in that item. The ideal candidate should be knowledgeable about TransNet ordinances and willing to contribute fresh insights to these critical areas. Lastly, this appointment is vital to making strategic decisions that will influence the amendments and support the ITALK's long-term objectives. Thank you.
Chair, if I could add a little bit more to what the reason is we're reconvening.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. For the September board meeting, we were thinking about going back to the board to try to accept or bring back the amendment request for ITALK to, as Adrian mentioned, is to change the makeup of ITALK by adding a couple more board members and also changing the selection process to facilitate the process a little bit better by appointing or adding chair or vice chair of ITALK as the chair of the selection committee without a vote. But what happened was when we looked at it and by noticing that, some of the selection or the additional members were really predicated upon the 5 big moves to move forward. And we were trying to keep up with that. And that amendment has been delayed and delayed. We're waiting for the RTP to be approved. I brought up the fact that I don't know if it's the timing is right at this point to look at the number of ITALK members to be increased until we know how the SANDAG is moving forward with their future programs. So the amendment was approved with those 2 items in it. If we're going to revisit that amendment and look at what part of it we want to maybe keep at this point and what part we want to delay to further into the future, then we need to reconvene as a subcommittee, look at the amendment once more, and bring back to ITALK what the new version of the amendment would be at this time, based on, program and how SANDAG is going to proceed. So that's the reason why we need one more subcommittee member. Jonathan and I are already on the subcommittee, but we need one more person to help us evaluate this amendment a little bit more to make sure what we do is correct. What my concern is, we're having such a hard time, or staff is having a hard time filling vacant positions at this time. Construction has been vacant for several months now, so I don't want to add to the burden of staff by adding a couple more positions to be filled at this point when we really don't need, let's say, a technology person on the committee at this point. So that's the reason I requested this to be pulled back and start evaluating again. So. Any questions?
No, thank you for that clarification. That's helpful for those of us who are relatively new on this.
We need a volunteer or we'll volunteer somebody.
Yes.
I'll make it easy. I'll volunteer.
There you go.
I move to appoint Frank as a 3rd member of the committee.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Great. So with Sunny making the motion and Lorraine making a second, do we need to take a vote? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. For Biology Environmental, Lorraine Alquist.
Approve.
For CEO Private Sector, Sunny House.
Approved.
Contractor Construction is vacant. For Finance and Budgeting, Chair Babaki.
Yes.
For Licensed Civil Traffic Engineer, Vice Chair Rivera.
Approved.
For Licensed Engineer, Les Hopper.
Approved.
And Real Estate Right-of-Way Acquisition is absent. So that motion does pass unanimously with those members present.
Great. Well, let's move on to item number 12.
Hello, ITAL committee members and chair. My name is Jennifer Cha, and I am a senior project control analyst here at SANDAG. And today I will be presenting on the TransNet quarterly status report for fiscal year 2024 fourth quarter. So our objective is to assist ITALC in major project oversight responsibilities in the area of cost control and schedule adherence. And we do this by providing quarterly reports with while considering feedback from ITALC committee members. The project office actively monitors SANDAG's capital improvement program, and we provide TransNet quarterly status reports that includes expenditure and schedule data for TransNet major corridor and regional bikeway program projects. So when do we provide these reports? We provide them on a quarterly basis every 3 months, with quarter 1 in November, quarter 2 in February, quarter 3 in May, and we end it with quarter 4 in September. And although we like to keep to the schedule, there may be circumstances that may cause us to deviate from this, but we do try to provide it on a quarterly basis. So for today, we will start with some major corridors funding leveraging data. Then we will go into the major corridors bikeway milestones. We will also look at monthly and yearly expenditure data, and we will conclude our presentation, or I will conclude my presentation with engineering news record costs. So TransNet dollars remains a stable funding source for financing critical transportation projects. And currently, we are exceeding our 1-to-1 match requirement with a ratio of 2.8 to 1. TransNet dollars allows us to enhances our ability to attract other sources of funding. And so currently we are leveraging 8 billion of other resources with 2.9 billion of TransNet dollars. Next, we'll go ahead and look at the milestones. So this is a 6-month outlook, and you can see here that for quarter 4 of fiscal year 2024, we completed 4 major milestones. And next quarter, so for fiscal year 2025, quarter 1, we anticipate 7 major milestones with 3 already accomplished and 1 we're expecting to be completed by the end of September or this month, which is the advertisement of Uptown Bikeway. And so what the project office does is we monitor 6 major milestones in accordance to our annual budget development report. And this includes draft environmental document, federal environmental document, advertisement date, begin construction, open to the public, and then construction complete. So as our CEO Mario mentioned, we did have some major milestones completed, including construction beginning on Inland Rail Trail Phase 3. And once this is completed, Phase 3 of Inland Rail Trail will run alongside Sprinter Tracks and Vista. A July 27th grand opening celebration occurred for Pershing Bikeway, which does allow for expands the opportunity and safety for pedestrians and cyclists through Balboa Park along Pershing Drive. And in August, construction did begin on Bataquitos Lagoon double track with preliminary activities, including bird surveying, site preparation, and fence installation with the project area. And once this is completed, it will construct a second set of train tracks along Bataquitos Lagoon and replace the aging bridge with a concrete double track bridge. Sorry. Okay, now that we've looked at milestones, let's go into some expenditure data. So this is our monthly expenditures for the regional bikeway. And we actually met our goal of spending. And although it does look like there are some dips and like ups and downs, we did spend about 78% of our annual budget. And so that is 9.7 million spent within the regional bikeway program this fiscal year. And 78% is about overall 34 million out of 43 million. And this is where we want to be. And you can see here, this gray line does represent which is the annual budget divided by each month. And most of our expenditures did occur in June, and that could be attributed to some of the construction activity we mentioned with Pershing Bikeway opening, and then we had Inland Rail Trail and Downtown to Imperial that began construction as well in Q4. So this is our monthly expenditures for the major corridor. Construction continued on several projects, including I-5 HOV Carlsbad, SR 56 HOV lanes, and I-5 North HOV lanes. So it does show that, we did have a delay in spending in some months, and those can be contributed to a delay in consultant award for I-5, I-805 conversion to express lanes. Expenses are expected to follow in fiscal year 2025 once the consultant award is it's awarded. Right-of-way payments for Sorrento to Miramar Phase 2. There were some delays due to the changes in environmental clearance, and there was a delay for payments pending the negotiations of downtown multi-use bus stopover facility. And lastly, these expenditures are as of August, but our finance team is still finalizing FY24 expenses. So final numbers may increase slightly. So this is our yearly expenditures for regional bikeway. And as you can see, there is an uptick in expenditures. So we can see that projects were started in the design phase in fiscal year 13 with some support costs, and it's increased now in fiscal year 24 with construction. Current projects in construction was what we mentioned, like Pershing Bikeway, Downtown to Imperial, Eastern Hillcrest. And then there is a downtick in our expenses for major corridor yearly expenditures, and this is due to the Midcoast project wrapping up. As you can see, in 2021, it did open to the public. And so we are, though, expecting more projects in construction, including our Otay Mesa East Port of Entry and low-sand projects in the low-sand corridor. So we are expecting those construction expenditures to be higher next fiscal year. And lastly, we want to end our presentation with, we provided the ENR, or just the Engineering News Record, Construction Cost Index, trends for Los Angeles, California. You can see here that construction costs did increase slightly between Q3 and Q4 by 0.5%, but on an annual basis, it has increased 3%. And that does include my presentation. Thank you so much for this time, and I'll turn it back over to you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on this item? Please raise your hand.
Thank you, Chair. I see no hands from the public online or in the room.
Okay, thank you. Are there any member comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
On slide 8, the major milestones, the Pershing Bikeway. I represented ITALK that day. I'm there in the background on the left. Red helmet. And it's quite a ride downhill and the opposite going uphill. So but it's a great facility. I've been by that street for many, many decades, and I really appreciate that project. The next question is on slide 13, the one for the engineering news record. Do you use the, is it the January inflation number or is it July? Do you happen to know? Because we're on a fiscal year budget, begins July 1st.
Yeah, so
I
we
just want-
do, for the engineering news record, it is an annual calendar.
Okay,
So what you see here, it's not fiscal year, it's annual.
okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Lorraine?
And that addresses my comment as well. Just Chris provided an update on the bike projects. And I think at that point, this was 2 sessions ago, that he indicated a 27% increase. And so my inquiry was pertaining to what's the frequency of evaluating when construction costs go up? Is that something that is being provided to SANDAG on a quarterly basis or an annual basis to align with the ENR estimates?
Morning, Omar Tay. I'm with the engineering and construction group as principal engineer. We're constantly, there's lots of different metrics for looking at inflation. We're constantly looking at all of them. What was presented at ITALK in June, I believe, was based on the Caltrans cost index. So there's different ways of measuring inflation. Caltrans cost index looks at it more in terms of transportation improvements that Caltrans would typically do. So a bikeway project would be more aligned with that. ENR, Engineers News Record, will have a more broad scope. So you might get varying numbers because different things, different materials escalate differently, right? As far as our projects are concerned, we're constantly tracking the bid prices, the unit prices. We're looking at Caltrans, we're looking at the city, the county, various agencies to see what their bid prices are to come up with our engineers' estimates. What I can say is that, we're tracking and trying to get the best estimates possible, but all of the indices, however you want to look at it, they're all trending upward at a very alarming rate, and we're trying to do our best to sort of mitigate for those increases.
I think something that it's important to highlight is the construction methodology that we utilize, right? Because if it's a design bid build, there's a snapshot at the time of the engineer's estimate. It goes out, the bid comes in, and the unit prices are locked. If it's a CMGC type of contract or a progressive design build, you develop packages and you negotiate the cost per package. So then you're moving, it's moving, right? It's a moving target depending how long it takes. A good example is the I-5 North Coast Corridor has been working on a CMGC for several years on multiple packages, right? It's coming to probably its last package of deliverable. So I think the challenge that we're having, and this is going to be a much broader conversation, it's going to be kind of not two-dimensional, but multi-dimensional, which is keeping track of the cost increases in the engineer's estimate, but also with the regional plans and with the different forecastings. And eventually, and it's something that it's in the consent that, that eventually there's going to have to come a reckoning between the TransNet ordinance and the RTP, right? And we're waiting to have that more solid discussion with the upcoming 2025 RTP. But even keeping track of those cost estimates when that big program is being developed, it's going to be an interesting discussion So it is a moving target. I think we have seen an anomaly with inflation that is going to taper down again and become again a straight line. You know, traditionally we use what, 3.5%, and we did see some humongous spikes. So we'll figure out how to level that off. But like I said, it's always also contingent the delivery methodology, and then also the A&E, right? And sometimes 40% of the cost of a project is the support, and we'll also have to be keeping track of the support cost increases.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions? Okay.
Jennifer, thank you for the presentation. I was just wondering if we would be able to see a breakdown of the data that went into the summary of the expenditures, especially on the corridor programs. Maybe that's you guys, right? But
When you say breakdown, are you asking
just
by
more detailed on, rather than just the total number, is there a detail on what created that number?
Yeah, we have that. We also provide information by project on what they've expended to the board on a quarterly basis as well. But we can definitely provide you some more detailed information.
Yeah, thanks. Perfect.
Any other comments or questions? That's it. Okay, that concludes all the report items on the agenda. We can move on to adjournment. Our next ITAC meeting is on October 9th. I will not be here. Frank will be, I guess he will be taken, and we'll resume after that. With that, we adjourn the meeting.